Does this prove that Steam is coming to Xbox consoles? What is up, y'all? I am Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on and we talk about Xbox stuff. The latest news, rumors, games, accessories, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a certain image that Microsoft released, which is leading many people to believe that Steam on the next Xbox is a lock. Then we'll move on to talk about a Windows update that I am super excited about, and then we'll wrap up the video talking about what's coming to Game Pass in the later half of March, which will include my impressions about one of the most anticipated titles hitting Game Pass at the end of March, Atomfall. So let's talk about Steam on our Xbox consoles. I'm sorry. If you have been keeping up with the channel, I've been talking a lot about these rumors surrounding the next generation console lineup that Microsoft is working on. The handheld, the Series X2 that's supposed to be kind of like a PC, kind of like a console. It's gonna have, or allegedly it's gonna have multiple launchers like Steam, Epic, and yeah, I'm gonna talk about it again. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because it's my channel, and I think it's really exciting, especially the prospect of Steam on Xbox. I remember when I first started seeing gameplay footage of Rust. I had never played a game like that, a survival, open world, online, there's a bunch of other people trying to raid your base type game. I would watch some of my favorite YouTubers play it, some of my favorite streamers play it, and I always really wanted to join in on the fun, but I couldn't because I had an Xbox and it was only on PC through Steam. Later on for me, it was Mordhau. I was like, oh my gosh, this game looks sick. It wasn't on console at the time. That led me to literally typing into Google games that are like Mordhau that I can play on my Xbox. And the closest thing that I got was Mount & Blade Warband. Luckily, that game is old as hell and had been ported over to Xbox One pretty easily, and thus started my love of that franchise. And I'm sure that if you are watching this and you're a console-only player, you've had one of those moments like, damn, I really want to play that game. Is it on Xbox? No, just Steam. Imagine a world where we didn't have to worry about that, where you can play your Xbox games, and if you see something that's really cool that's only available through Steam, you open up Steam on your Xbox, you download it, and you play it, just like you would any other game. There's always going to be doubters. There's always going to be those people that are like, well, Ray, it's just a rumor, but it's not going to stop me from talking about it, especially when Xbox posts stuff like this on their official website. They wrote up this article for the Xbox Wire, mostly talking about GDC and how they're going to open 1 billion doors through this new strategy of making every screen an Xbox, bringing cloud gaming, bringing the PC Xbox app to all these other devices. It's an interesting read that talks about some stuff we discussed in previous videos this week, but when they first posted it, they had this image that looked like an entirely new Xbox UI. Something was a little off about it though, because it was like a console UI that even featured Steam games. And ultimately, they ended up taking it down. This is very obviously a mock-up, just kind of used to illustrate their point. But honestly, I think this is a very good representation on what Xbox fans want to see in this PC console hybrid future that we've been hearing about. Tom Warren does mention that Xbox has been working on this feature where in the Xbox PC app, you'll be able to see all of your games downloaded on your PC, even ones downloaded from Steam. So maybe this is something that had to do with that. But we also already know that Xbox is currently working on blending the Windows and Xbox gaming experiences for some sort of hybrid, not Xbox OS, but different gaming experience that can specifically be used on handhelds. That's been a big point of emphasis for Xbox over the past couple of months. Speaking of handhelds, my ROG Ally is pretty much the whole reason why I'm so excited about seeing an Xbox console that features multiple launchers. I've talked about it before, but you open the Armory Crate app and it lists all of your games and it has a little icon for the launcher that you downloaded them through. It's really cool to see my PC gaming library consolidated like that. One little blip though that's not being shown in this footage, which also pisses me off when I'm using this thing. When I hit the guide button on my controller to bring up Steam Bit Picture mode, it also brings up the Xbox game bar, which is not being shown on this. I don't know why OBS isn't picking it up, but imagine that there is Xbox game bar in the compact mode on this screen, but I'm not able to navigate it with my controller. I have to use my mouse and keyboard. A very disjointed experience. Like, they have to figure all of this out before they release their own handheld. There's a couple of problems with that though. The first one being it's not an Xbox. It's just not. They can say that this is an Xbox in the ads or whatever, but it's not. If it was, I'd be able to access all of my Xbox games on it. I can access a lot of Xbox games either through Game Pass or through ones that I've bought on my console, but not all of them. I have Avowed, Stalker 2, Metaphor RE Fantasio downloaded. Those are all games that I own, but they're also supported by Xbox Play Anywhere. But my copy of Cult of the Lamb that I bought on my Series X, sorry, I'd have to buy it again, either through Steam or the Windows Store. I don't even know if it's on the Windows Store. The point is, I'd have to buy it again. I know that's a big question on a lot of fans' minds. If they do this PC console hybrid, this Xbox handheld, are they going to be able to bring their entire digital library that they've amassed over the past couple of generations to this new device? And honestly, I don't really know. It sounds like a licensing nightmare. It sounds like an emulation nightmare. There's going to be some trickery when it comes to that, or a catch, or some sort of compromise. Steam on the next Xbox is literally a no-brainer. I see a lot of people being like, well, what if Steam or Valve doesn't allow it? They wouldn't want that. They want people to buy Steam Decks or whatever their console is going to be. But they literally lose nothing if they put Steam on other people's hardware. They're already doing it. As long as you're buying through their storefront, the Steam store, they get 100% of that money. I don't know if Microsoft would work out some trickery where they get a cut if it's bought through an Xbox versus if you do it through a Steam Deck or a PC. I don't even know if that can happen. I just don't see a reason why Steam would put SteamOS onto Lenovo products, make their app playable through the ROG Ally and all of these other handhelds, and then suddenly be like, no, we don't want to put it on the next Xbox. The other thing that pisses me off about my Ally is the fact that I can't use the built-in gamepad as a keyboard like you can on a Nintendo Switch. It's so stupid that I can use my right stick to control the cursor on my Ally, but interacting with anything else, I can't like click A to click on, to even put in my pin. I have to use the touchscreen to type, to interact with stuff, to click on stuff, and I don't want to be putting hands all over my screen. I want the screen to be nice so I can, play games. They started working on an update that would allow you to do just that about 6 months ago. And then they were like, okay, we're done testing it. We're going to work on it a little bit more before we roll it out to everyone else. And then I saw an article that got me so pumped because it said, new Windows 11 update. You'll be able to use your controller for the keyboard, any keyboard input. But it looks like I got my hopes up way too soon again, because while the gamepad keyboard functionality, it's resurfaced, it's not officially out. It's still being tested as part of the Windows Insiders build. Now, Ray, you're a YouTuber, you talk about Xbox, you talk about Windows, you talk about Microsoft. Why don't you just sign up for that insider build, check it out for yourself? Haha. I would. I really would. But here's the thing, these insider builds, at least on the Xbox side, have been causing a lot of issues. And when I sit down and I pick up my Ally, I turn on my Xbox, I boot up my PC, I want to play the game. I don't want to deal with anything else. I just want to play. Speaking of playing games, Game Pass Ultimate subscribers have a whole fresh new batch to work their way through if they're looking for anything to play in the second half of March. And honestly, it's a pretty solid lineup. Octopath Traveler 2, Train Sim World 5, Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island, Blizzard Arcade Collection, and Atomfall. There's also some really cool games that are trickling down to Game Pass Core this month, including Tunic and Batman Arkham Knight. I miss Tunic. I love Tunic, man. Thinking about Tunic, I'm like instantly transported back to the beginning of Xbox Ready when we first started the channel. Good memories, good times. We waited forever for that game, and I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. The game I was most excited for this month, hands down, was Atomfall. I got to play this back a few months ago when they had a mini Gamescom event here in LA. At that point in time, I had completely forgotten about this game. I went in kind of blind and I was just kind of running around, fighting stuff, getting killed left and right. I only had like 45-ish minutes to play. Not very long at all, especially for a game like this. But luckily, my friends at Xbox sent me a review code to check it out early. They only want people talking about the first couple of hours of the game because of spoiler stuff. They don't want people knowing the story. I'm not very far at all, but I still wanted to talk about it with you guys, especially if you're thinking, I don't know, I'm still working my way through this game. Should I jump into Atomfall just yet? And so far, I am pleased with Atomfall. I'm not like blown away, oh my god, I'm addicted to this game, but I am intrigued enough to keep going. Over the past couple of months, everyone's been calling it, oh, British Fallout, British Fallout, British Fallout. It's kind of like Fallout, it's kind of like Stalker, it's kind of like these survival post-apocalyptic games. And I'll go ahead and say, sure, there are some similarities, I guess, but I would compare it, at least plot-wise, story-wise, not to Fallout, but more to BioShock. You play as this nameless, faceless guy who wakes up in this strange place in this bunker, and then you're just kind of spat out into the world and left to figure it out on your own. Pretty early on, you walk past this mysterious phone booth, you pick up the phone, it's this mysterious voice, just like Andrew Ryan talking to you and trying to guide you through Rapture. This nameless, mysterious voice is trying to get you to go to the interchange and kill Oberon. Very mysterious, you don't know what that means, you're just kind of left to figure it out for yourself. And that's pretty much what Adamfall boils down to. You gotta figure it out for yourself. In the previews, in the deep dives, they kept talking about this non-traditional quest system, and that's what intrigued me the most going into this game. How was that actually gonna work out? It's not exactly like a Dark Souls or Elden Ring system where you can just pretty much walk by these quests and never know that they existed, but it's not nearly as hand-holdy as these other modern day games have become. What it boils down to is basically they'll give you the location of a lot of these leads that you investigate. You pick up a note and, oh, you gotta go investigate this mill or this hotel. It'll give you the location, but it doesn't tell you what to do after that. And sometimes it won't even mark it on your map. It'll be like, you gotta find these coordinates and that's where you gotta go. I did like that to a certain degree. I like games that make me feel smart, games that make me feel like I'm doing the work and putting together the mystery on my own. Other times it did annoy me. We'll get to that in a little bit. In the open world, I was kind of traumatized from Stalker, where pretty much anyone can kill you in the lower levels. So I found the town of Wyndham, which is like the starting village. It's protected by walls. These people called the Protocol seem like a relatively safe place to just kind of figure out the quest system, the navigation, just the world of this game. And to the game's credit, it gave me stuff to do like right away. I walked into this church and oh my gosh, there's a dead body. I gotta solve this murder. What's going on here? Over the course of that quest, this murder mystery, I realized that there were definitely multiple options depending on how I felt as a character. Do I want to help the vicar and keep this a secret so he can keep doing his job with the church? Do I want to help out the shady shopkeeper who's got some really interesting shady connections? Do I want to just say screw it and tell the military police that everyone hates? And any good RPG quest should have options, and Adamfall does a pretty decent job of that. I'm also a big fan of the dialogue system in this game. It tells you what you need to know. Nothing more, nothing less. There's been a lot of dialogue bloat in modern games over the past couple of years. Like these NPCs will have all of these different options if you want to ask about a certain person or a certain location or the lore of something. In Adamfall, no, there's none of that. When you have a lead and you're talking to someone about a lead that you're investigating, it'll give you different options. Oh, do you want to pry? Oh, do you want to be sympathetic? Oh, do you want to be accusatory? And operating on, oh, Bethesda logic, standard RPG logic, I was like, I can go ahead and exhaust all of these different options and milk all the information that I need out of them. No, not in Adamfall. They limit your dialogue options, and once you exhaust them, you're locked out of them entirely. So at one point, I was talking to this woman about her husband who has this mysterious disease, and it gave me my list of dialogue options. One of them was sympathetic, like, oh, I'm so sorry about your husband. But I was like, okay, before I start getting my own answers, I'm gonna butter her up a little bit. I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry about your husband, blah, 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 blah. Without even knowing, by picking the sympathetic option, she went through her dialogue and then just went back to being a normal shopkeeper NPC. Inadvertently, what I had done was rob myself of a couple of key pieces of information: the entrance to the interchange and the cure to this mysterious disease. It forces you, at least in the dialogue, to be decisive, which is something that I really enjoyed. Investigating stuff is cool, but there's a lot of dead air in between. I got a lead about, oh, the cure for the disease that you're looking for. You got to talk to this woman that lives in the woods. Okay, so I'm gonna go over there. I walk to the woman in the woods. She's like, oh yeah, I do have the cure, but I don't have the recipe anymore, so you got to go look for it in the castle. Okay, I got to go to the castle, which is like all the way on the other side of the map. And the game is pretty to look at. The environment is interesting. There are outlaws and different enemies for you to fight on your way to these different points of interest, but it's not like a super action-packed game. But once you get to the place you're trying to investigate, it's really fun, it's really interesting. But it didn't stop me from thinking, damn, I'm doing a lot of walking. Damn, I'm doing a lot of nothing in between these quests. Once I got to this castle, I had really been playing it cautiously. I played for like 2, almost 3 hours without getting into any sort of combat at all. But once I got to the castle, I was a little bit pissed off. I was like, you know what? I want to fight something. And I'm glad that I did, because the shooting and the combat is surprisingly smooth, especially with the melee combat. You can light attack, strong attack, kick, and throw. And I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome, especially in a survival game where bullets and gunpowder, they're scarce. I ended up killing everyone in this castle. There was a lot of druid weirdo people in this castle. I was really chugging along. I found something that I had been looking for another quest, but I didn't find what I went there for in the first place. And that's when I started thinking to myself again, okay, this quest, this investigation thing where it doesn't tell you explicitly where things are, that's cool. I like putting together the mystery, running into an obstacle, thinking back on another bit of information I learned previous to that game and thinking, oh, that would be perfect for this situation. But I cleared out the castle. I didn't get what I was looking for. I looked around. I continued looking around for like another hour and a half. And I was just like, damn, I wish the game would just tell me so I could just get out of here, move on with my life. They're pretty generous with the autosave system as well. So you can take risks, do off-the-wall stuff, and if you end up dying, the game will never punish you by making you lose hours and hours and hours of progress. Overall, I think Atomfall is worth checking out. Again, I'm not like goo gaga over it, but the hook is strong enough so far that I want to see where it ends. I want to see what's going on in the interchange, what's going on with Oberon, what even is that? I'm still in the starting area, and I imagine that as I go on, there's going to be a lot more high octane, exciting stuff. But still, I think the core is pretty solid, especially with the world building and the character interactions that you have with these NPCs. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.